Hey guys, today's video is going to be focused on just one subject, the one that I have researched quite a bit because as you might know, I am going to have a double jaw surgery at the beginning of this, at the end of this year, hopefully, fingers crossed, because I really wouldn't want to be going through the whole process for longer than a year. And because this is quite a scary experience for many people, including myself, I know that a double jaw surgery or a single jaw surgery is a really invasive procedure. They'll be putting you to sleep, they'll be cutting your jaw in multiple pieces and sort of putting them back in a symmetrical position. So it looks good and it is functional. And then they would put all this titanium plates and stuff on your bones. So yeah, of course, it's really invasive. It can last from 2 to 7 hours. I'm sure you guys all know this already because anybody who is researching the subject would know, would have read upon it, would have seen some vlogs, would have followed some Instagram channels, literally everything that I've done so far. So the reason why I'm making this video today is because when I was doing my research about the jaw surgery experience and all that kind of stuff, I couldn't find any information about what might happen in regards to, I'm talking about the negative side of things. People seem to be, all the vlogs that I've seen, all the Instagram pictures and accounts that I've followed, people are usually really happy with the results. The recovery process is more or less the same for everyone, and yeah, I would say 95% of people are happy with what they look like, with the bite functionality, with the recovery process, all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I wanted to dig a little bit deeper and find more information as to what can go wrong. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that the final result, and I'm talking about aesthetics here, might not look as good as you expected it to look beforehand. What I'm talking about here is I know from my own experience that you will follow all these Instagram accounts and you'll see all these amazing, beautiful results of people changing dramatically and people looking really good after the surgery and being really happy. But then sometimes you would see people who don't look as good and whose face doesn't seem to have changed much at all. This usually happens with people with really severe facial asymmetry. For some reason surgeons could not correct it entirely. There will still be some level of deviation of the midline. I've seen this in a couple of cases and it's really unfortunate. So it's not 100% perfect. The other reason why results might not look perfect is because everyone's body is different, obviously, and sometimes surgeons cannot cut bone or move bones in a certain position because this process would affect other really important factors that are responsible for a normal function of a human body. That's why it's just impossible to do that. And I would also like to mention the fact that yes, the majority of people do look really good after surgeries. I would say 95%. However, there would be a 2.5% of people who would look not entirely good but better than before they had the surgery, and there would be a certain percentage of people who would look exactly the same. And what I mean here is that you would not notice the difference at all. The person is not smiling, however you will notice the difference when they smile. So from the usual regular facial expression, it won't be noticeable at all. So yeah, results will vary. This is something to expect. So what I was trying to say is this is not like a wrong thing. This is something that might happen. and this is something that this is something that you guys, whoever you are watching this, you need to expect that it might not be 100% the way you expect it to be. And another thing to add to this point here is when you have a jaw surgery and you go to you have a consultation with the surgeon, they would make a computerized version of what you should expect to look like after surgery, whether it's a single or double jaw surgery. And in most cases it will not represent the reality of things. So I've seen people going through a phase of existential crisis. I've seen some people being really nervous about the fact that they've chosen to go ahead with one jaw surgery type, single or double, and when they've seen the predictions, the photo predictions, they were really upset about the choice that they've made, and it was too late to change their mind because all the steps have been done for the surgery to be a certain way, so they couldn't go back on their decision. And in the majority of cases the outcome would be very far from what these pictures show, so try not to pay too much attention to those pictures, to those predictions. Another thing that I'd like to mention is the fact that the healing process would take up to a year, so the results, your aesthetics results, would change throughout the year. The swelling will be slowly going down, all the numbness will slowly go away, and your face will change over the period of 1 year. For some people, the swelling goes down after a month completely and they're fine. For some people, this process takes up to 6 months. I've seen loads of videos of people being really unhappy with the way they look. They could not recognize themselves in the mirror. They could not accept their new reality, the way they look, and it was really depressing for them, and I quite understand that. But it's, regardless of how difficult it might be to focus on the fact that the recovery is really long for this surgery type, please do not focus on those results that you're seeing before 1 year, because your face will change, and it is really important to know that, and not to become too negative about everything. Worry that you will stay the same swollen until the same, and by the same I mean swollen, even if it is a little bit, even if it's on the cheek here or top above your lip or anywhere else, all these little changes make a huge difference in the way you look. So your concerns are valid. However, yeah, please know that the recovery process is 1 year and you will be changing constantly. Okay, so another point that I wanted to bring up is the fact that during this healing process after the jaw surgery, you might get an infection. So if you notice that some part of your face has started to swell up and you started tasting something really strange and stuff, this will most probably mean that you have an infection and you need to get in touch with your surgeon. They will prescribe you some medication for it. So it's not a big thing, but it is something to be aware of. One of those things that can go wrong. Usually the infection goes away after a week or so of taking meds, so it's not too bad of a drawback. What can also happen, and this is, I think, one of the biggest drawbacks of what you might be going through after the surgery, is the fact that your body might not accept the titanium plates that will be in place after the jaw surgery. In the majority of cases, it doesn't happen. So people live with this titanium plates forever until they die. In some cases, a person's body would reject those titanium plates, and another surgery will be required to remove them. This is another invasive procedure that might happen, but the chances of it happening, I'll say 5% out of 100. So just be aware of that. It's nothing to be super concerned about. So another thing that I'd like to mention is nosebleeds. You will have a lot of nosebleeds in the first 3 to 6 days. So if it does happen, you'll need to pinch your nose as much as you can for as long as you can until the nosebleeds stop. Sometimes it might be really, really intense. I've seen some people go to emergency centers because they're scared and they can't stop their nose from bleeding, and it can be quite distressing in the recovery process. That added to everything else that you're going through, which is lack of food, lack of sleep, pain, psychological effects of just seeing the swelling and everything. This can be quite disturbing, and yeah, be aware of that. Maybe read upon different techniques of how to stop nosebleeds. Another thing that I wanted to mention is the following. So I found a case of this girl basically being able to feel the outer layer, the outer side, the sharp side of the screw here next to her throat with her tongue. So yeah, it was really bad. I have no clue why it happened, but I think it's because the surgeon was trying to screw the titanium plate somewhere where it shouldn't be screwed in or something. Maybe the bone wasn't as big as it should be. I don't know, but it happened and nothing could be done about it until way after, when the person was healed and they were able to open their mouth wide enough for the doctor to grind the sharp edges off the screw. Okay, so I promise I'm not trying to scare you off, but there is another thing that I'd like to bring up. This was also just one case out of a million that I've seen so far. So this girl had a double dual surgery and everything went fine. She held up pretty well, but she kept mentioning that something is not right, and to her doctor and to her parents, and she kept saying that something just didn't feel right in her mouth, which was quite strange because everything should align really well after the surgery and orthodontics. But anyway, 7 months has passed and she went to the surgeon and they finally looked into her concerns, and it turned out that they didn't move jaws in the perfect position and she required a second surgery. So yes, going through the surgery once is a really dramatic experience, both physically and psychologically, and not just for yourself but for other people too. But going through the same kind of surgery twice in the same year, it just shouldn't happen. This just shows that you do really need to do research when looking for a surgeon, because experience is key in this field. And yes, you are paying a lot of money, or if you're not paying a lot of money, if you're doing it on NHS for free, or if your insurance is covering it, this is quite an intense procedure for you, and it's your life at the end of the day. You do really need to look into all the possible options for you here, in order for you to be happy in the end, hopefully, because you never know. Okay, so another thing that I found that can go wrong is this case of a girl who suffered from diabetes, and when she went into the surgery, and way before that, she let everybody know that she's suffering from diabetes, and the doctors were aware, everyone was aware of it. And so what happened is, after the surgery and even during the surgery, nurses failed to give her enough insulin shots, and that didn't really go well for her health. And yeah, things went really bad from there. Though she's alive, everything is fine, but it did deteriorate the process of healing, and it did affect her health in a negative way. So if you do suffer from any kind of illness like that, of course you will tell the doctor and they will check your health before the surgery. But in cases like that, I think you need to make triple sure that all the nurses and all the doctors are aware that you need a certain level of something. In this case, she needed more insulin that she was given by the nurses, and it was quite bad. Okay, so I know there are a lot of people who are scared of throwing up after the surgery, and all the meds that you're taking might make you nauseous, and they probably will make you nauseous, and because your jaw in the majority of cases will be wired shut, a lot of people are scared they'll just suffocate and they won't be able to breathe, and they'll be just thrown up and they won't be able to throw up because their mouth will be shut and all that kind of stuff. That is truly scary, but in reality, don't be scared. Try not to be. Of course, it's easy for me to say. I haven't even had my jaw surgery yet, but from what I've seen so far is all those people who are scared of it, they kept saying that it's actually fine, it's not a problem at all, you won't feel anything, you will be really numb, and when you do throw up, it will just kind of fall out of your mouth, and all the blood that will be coming out as well. Just don't worry about it, you won't feel it, it will just be kind of dripping off. I know it's gross, but it's something to know. It will be okay, you will be okay for sure. Another thing to know is right after the surgery you'll be really numb and you will be bleeding for the first 3 to 4 days, a lot from your nose, from your mouth. It is to be expected after such an invasive surgery, and because you will be numb, you won't be able to feel it. So having some kind of towel around you or something to soak up all the blood from the nose will be really, really beneficial. After you've had the surgery, especially if you're having a double or an upper jaw surgery, they will be messing with your nose, so it will be very difficult to breathe. When you wake up, your mouth will be shut and there will be a lot of blood in your nose, so your nose will be blocked. One of the solutions here is to have an air diffuser, because they do help with unblocking everything so you can breathe better. And yeah, every time you feel that you can't breathe, just let the nurses know right away, because apart from air diffusers, there are some methods that they do in order to unblock you so you can breathe and recover better. Okay, I'm going to talk about the last thing, I promise. I think this video is starting to turn into some horror movie, and I know that people might not want to watch it because this surgery in the majority of cases is such a life-changing procedure, and you know, people are super excited about it, but I do know that we all need to be realistic, and knowing this, things might help overcome them if you do run into those issues after your surgery. Another point to add here is, and this isn't like a super big negative thing, right after the surgery you will most probably be driving home, and the ride itself will make you really, really sick, will make you feel awful. So it is probably best to take it very slow, and maybe if you live quite far from the hospital, do the trip in batches, stopping every 20 minutes or so, depending on how you feel, in order for you to have a better experience of getting home from the hospital. Usually it's just 1 day after the surgery, so you are quite swelled up and you will feel really nauseous. Okay, so as I was editing the video, I actually remembered one other point that I did not mention, and this is something that surgeons tell you, I hope, but maybe not. After the jaw surgery, especially if it is either upper or double jaw surgery, the shape of your nose will change. It will get wider and it might be up tilted, but this up tiltedness will go down after the swelling of your upper lip goes down. So, but maybe not all the way down as it used to be. So this is to be expected. And I think this information is put in the paperwork that you will be signing. Some surgeons recommend having a rhinoplasty after the double jaw surgery, so they correct the shape and the shape of your nose and stuff. But the thing is, it's not just about the shape of your nose, it's also about your ability to breathe. I watched this video yesterday about a girl who could not breathe through her nose anymore after the jaw surgery, and she was really upset about that, obviously, and yeah, she had to go through another surgery. This is something to be aware of. Okay, so there's one more thing that I forgot to mention earlier. After the jaw surgery, the skin on your face will be in awful condition. It will just be really bad. It might get really bad for up to a year until you've healed. I've seen people suffering with that, and it being really annoying to them, of course, because you just want your face back. You just want a better version of your face back, if that makes sense. But yeah, there will be some things that will change, and you will have to get some additional products maybe for your skincare. Another thing that I wanted to mention is sometimes people experience extra sogginess in their skin after the jaw surgery. So this is somewhat related to the previous point I made about the skin condition, but it is slightly different, because you might experience some extra skin that you might be having after your jaw has been moved backwards. So yeah, this will take some time to readjust. Okay, so before I finish this video, I'd like to mention one more point, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important ones. It is always best to get a second advice from a surgeon, because you never know what a person might be going through on day to day. They might not see something in your scans and make decisions that are not the best for you in a specific case. So getting a second opinion from different surgeons might be really beneficial. And the reason why I'm saying it is because I have seen results that could have been better, in my opinion, though I'm not a surgeon and I don't know the full history of things. There have been cases where people did not get the best result they could have got from an aesthetic point of view, just because of a surgeon's negligence. So when planning for this surgery type, or any surgery type, I guess, it is best to get a second opinion always, so you are 100% confident in what you are getting yourself into. Okay, so another thing that can happen is the plates or stuff that they put in your jaw to keep it together. Sometimes they can start to erupt from your gum line, and they can cause a lot of bleeding and a lot of pain. So this might happen, and if it does happen, get in touch with your surgeon so they could do something about it. In the majority of cases, they will just take them out entirely, so you don't have them anymore. By this time, your bones would have healed enough for you not to need those plates in the first place. Another thing they might do is they might just stitch everything up, but it depends on it varies on a case-to-day basis, of course. So the reason why I was wearing glasses actually is because every time I film something and I start editing things, I keep thinking of all the other things that I did not mention, and it's really annoying because I have to go back and forth from filming into editing, but I guess it's a good thing because I want this video to be as encompassing as it could be. Okay, so I think I've listed quite a bit here, and some of the points I've mentioned are quite dramatic. I know that. Please don't worry about it. It might not happen to you, but like I said earlier, it is really good to know about it so you can prepare yourself for it if it does happen. If I do come up with any other negative points, I will probably make another video because I do want to be helpful, and I do keep researching this point because it's quite interesting to me. If you do have any questions, please comment down below. I will happily answer them, and I will see you soon.